afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Designing for Access LUDIA in Action with a Desired Results Developmental Profile, the DRDP, and Universal Design for Learning, UDL. This is session number 2, and we're thrilled to have you with us today as we explore innovative tools and strategies that support learning and participation for all students.
All right, welcome everyone. Open Access is committed to the Universal Design for Learning principles. And to make our presentations and our materials more accessible, we have a few strategies that we use. So you'll notice we have simple backgrounds and high contrast text. Also, we have the shortened link to the SMORE, and that has all of the resources. You have access to the digital materials. We also have alternative text if you need access to that. And you're going to have lots of time today to reflect and talk with other participants as you are using LUDIA. And so before we get started, we wanted to share a few of the resources from today's session. So you can visit the Open Access website to explore tools and professional learning opportunities. And then also we have the QR code in the center that will take you directly to today's materials, the slides, links, and additional resources. And then we also have the link to the Desired Results Access project to explore tools and professional learning opportunities supporting early childhood education.
So we'd like to start off by introducing our amazing presenters here on the call today. Beth Stark is the co-creator of LUDIA, along with Jeremy Rostian. She was honored this past July to receive the CAST UDL Ann Meyer Design Award in recognition of their work advancing universal design for learning worldwide. So thank you for being here today, Beth. We're also joined today by Sean Kaplan, the training manager with the Desired Results Access Project, as well as we have Fred Cochran on the call, our UDL implementation specialist from the San Joaquin County Office of Education, and he is also an open access regional lead. And in addition, Leah and I are the coordinators from Open Access, and so we are delighted to be here as well. So thank you all for being here today.
And the Placer County SELPA Open Access Project is also honored to work alongside our collaborative partners. We work closely with Antelope Valley SELPA, North Inland SELPA, Humboldt County Office of Education, and the Placer County Office of Education. And our project is funded by the California Department of Education and the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. And so Open Access is one of the statewide special education resource leads within the statewide system of support. And we are grounded in the foundational belief that with access to quality instruction, all students can engage, actively participate, and learn with inclusive settings. And what makes our project unique is that we highlight the importance of learning and participation for all through universal design for learning, assistive technology, and augmentative alternative communication. So we encourage you to check out our website, and we also have a link to the one-pager that is also on that SMORE where all of the resources are if you want to learn more about the supports through Open Access.
All right, everybody, I'll say a welcome. I'm Sean Kaplan, the training manager at DR Access. So if you haven't visited our website, please do that. We have lots of resources and tools to support you in the DRDP process. We too are part of the California Department of Education, the Early Childhood Special Education Support System. So we are the ones who support and cater and answer your questions, provide professional development around the DRDP and special education. Some of the ways that we would love to have you interact with us and utilize some of our materials and resources is if you haven't already, please subscribe to our communications. We put out a monthly communication and we update our professional development in there as well as on our website. Do not ever hesitate to call us and reach out for support if you have a question around the DRDP processes, anything around filling out and completing that. We are always there via email or phone. And we love to hear your feedback around the types of professional development that will be helpful in the work that you do around the DRDP in collaboration with families and other educational professionals. So happy to be here and partnering both with LUDIA and Open Access. We're working collectively and collaboratively together to bring you the best of both worlds of LUDIA and those accesses to make your work in taking DRDP reports into practice for planning instruction. So thanks for being here.
All right, we're going to just talk quickly about what today will look like for us here on the call. We started with our opening and overview of the projects on the call today. And from here, we're going to move into a guided interactive experience with LUDIA. Beth will give us a chance to see this tool in action and really think about its practical applications. And then from there, we're going to shift into profiles in practice. These are going to be breakout discussions. You will join a breakout room based on a student profile that connects with your work or experience, allowing you to engage in a meaningful conversation with colleagues on the call today. And then we'll come back together for some exploration, additional reflection time, and wrap up, really making this a space for sharing key takeaways that you may have learned in your breakout rooms, highlight insights, and consider next steps.
All right, so we are so glad that you are here for session 2 and you're here to learn and grow with us. So before we get started, we want to take a minute for you to introduce yourself in the chat. So if you can share your name, your location, and your role. And then what's one insight or aha from session 1 that has stuck with you? Or if this is your first time joining us, what do you hope to learn today? So we'll give you a minute to share in the chat and introduce yourself. All right, well, welcome everyone. And we are excited to share with you how AI, LUDIA specifically, is going to be able to support you and your students to make things more accessible. So welcome everyone. We're going to pass it over to Beth, and we are excited to have her share and demo a little bit more about LUDIA.
Thank you, Leah, and thank you to all of you who are joining us once again and were with us in session 1. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, a big welcome to you, and please know that you haven't missed out. You just have more to learn, and that is okay because we're going to provide many opportunities no matter where you are on your learning journey. I'm Beth, and I am so honored and pleased to be with you. I'm joining you from my home in Germany, where I've lived actually since 2007. I started my career as a special education teacher for students who are blind and low vision, and eventually made my way here. And I worked as a learning support coordinator at an international school for over 16 years. And now I have the pleasure of working with international school teachers and leaders all over the world to support them in deepening their understanding and capacity around universal design for learning. A few years back, I partnered with a colleague of mine, Jeremy Roston, and together we combined our passion for the power and possibilities of artificial intelligence and our dedication to universal design for learning. And we developed a UDL thought partner. And that thought partner is LUDIA, the acronym UDL and AI remixed. LUDIA is a tool that is designed by educators for educators. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the what and the how or the history of LUDIA, you're more than welcome to join me in my breakout group. But right now, I want to take advantage of the fact that we are all together here and demonstrate what LUDIA can do for you as a thought partner as you work to reduce barriers for the learners in your care. I'm going to go backwards. There we go. So our first step is to take a poll. And so that poll will give you an opportunity to make a choice about what kind of demonstration you would like to see as our first step together. The choices, which I'm going to read out loud for you, are a scenario that's focused on a child with current supports and services, supporting the social and emotional needs and abilities of learners in a classroom, parent relationships and communication, or supporting the DRDP at the administrative level. So go ahead and take a moment to make your choice in the poll that you see on the screen right now, and we'll get going with our demo. All right. And welcome to those of you who are just joining us right now. We're happy you're here. And
All
Leah?
right, I'm going to end the poll. And it looks like it was very close. But Beth, we're going to take a look at social and emotional behavioral supports.
Right. Thank you so much for that guidance. All right, so I'm about to share my screen once more. So thank you for your patience. And I am going to move over to our shared site, otherwise known as the SMORE. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. There we go. All right. So what we see here are is number 3, social and emotional behavioral supports. I'm going to go ahead and click on the hot link that's already embedded underneath the title. And then you'll see over to the right is the actual question that you also see embedded in the SMORE. I'm going to go ahead and read that aloud for you. And as I'm reading it aloud, please take note of the kinds of information that I'm sharing with LUDIA and the level of specificity, which is a really important piece of the puzzle. You do not have to have any prompt engineering skills in order to successfully interact with LUDIA, but LUDIA is engineered to match your level of specificity. So Maya, not her real name, is a 5-year-old in my kindergarten class. She's very creative and can paint for long stretches, but mornings, especially Monday mornings, are a struggle. She often refuses to hang up her backpack, yells at kids who get too close, and sometimes pushes in line. I've tried giving her extra reminders and even letting her be first in line, but it doesn't seem to solve the bigger issue. She's clearly bright, but I don't understand what is causing this behavior or how to help Maya on Monday mornings. It seems like everyone is more on edge, teachers and children, on Mondays. I'm concerned other children are going to start having issues. So what you see and what you hear is a conversation that you may have with a trusted colleague when you're getting your first cup of coffee on Monday morning. So, it's the worries, the concerns, the complicated situations that we all encounter as educators who care deeply. And we don't always know how to create a constructive way forward alone. And that's what LUDIA is here to support you with. So what you're going to see in the answer will also echo in other answers that you receive from LUDIA. And first and foremost, it's going to help you to clearly frame the concerns that you have. So instead of actually blaming the child or giving you like a long word waterfall of ways to quote unquote extinguish the behavior, LUDIA is engineered to very clearly and concisely identify potential barriers in the situation that you've explained. And here you can see 3 potential barriers for you to focus in on. The next is typically in the answer, it's going to be, sorry about that, it's going to be suggestions for you to reduce barriers. Whether it's human intelligence or artificial intelligence, no one can really clearly understand your context. You're the expert in your learning space. So I really want to point out the fact that these are suggestions. And so you're able to combine your intelligence and understanding with these suggestions and take note of the fact that they are organized through a hierarchical order and are all rooted and connected to specific guidelines and considerations in the UDL framework. So you'll also see an example, which is a bit more specific about things that you can actually implement in your classroom in a pretty efficient way. So after you take a closer look at those suggested ways to reduce barriers, there's one more possibility. And so you're going to see me right now continue the chat. And once I do that, you'll also see at the bottom of your screen, you're going to get 3 to 4 hot linked pathways to dig a little bit deeper into the exchange with LUDIA. So when we engineered LUDIA, we wanted it to be a fully immersive UDL experience for you as well as the user. So we want to make sure that there is a predictable pattern, clarity, and connection in the responses that you receive, and that you also have those flexible pathways that will allow you to actually develop your understanding of UDL over time. So you're more than welcome to choose one of those flexible pathways, or you can also continue the conversation with LUDIA by asking a follow-up question, asking for some clarity, some extra detail, or even taking the conversation in a completely different direction if you choose. So that's just our long and short explanation of how you can connect with LUDIA and then what to expect when you do. So I'm going to move forward, but before I do, I want to just give everyone a moment and make sure that you know where to locate here on the SMORE the examples that we've already developed for you. So you'll see under the letter B, which is hot linked, the breakout rooms are listed in the visual. That's also all texted here for you in the SMORE. And those 3 examples are 2, 3, and 4. There's one little Easter egg I'm going to point out for you here, and that is with each of those examples, at the bottom, you'll see bonus, and there's an additional question. So if you choose to, you can continue to explore LUDIA and what LUDIA has to offer in a much more detailed but connected way. So this exchange is one direction that you can take, and it's directly connected to the example. For number 3, for example, the social and emotional behavioral supports, I followed up here by asking LUDIA, yeah, I would really like to make a feelings chart, but I want to stay away from emojis. What are some other ways that I can create a feelings chart that's age appropriate but does not use emojis? That's one example for you. All right. I think we're ready to move forward. I'm waiting for some head nods. Does it seem like we're on the right track for going ahead with our breakout rooms experience? Right. So it's going to, oh, great. Thank you for the feedback in the chat. I'm so happy you're here as well, Emily. We just want to give a quick shout out to our colleague, Emily Desjardins, who's also here with us. And she's also going to be leading one of the breakout rooms. So Leah, we're going to go ahead and open those up.
Yep, I will open all the rooms and you should be able to self-select which breakout room you would like to join.
Great.
So if
And
you find the 3 dots in the breakout room, you should have your choice where you can move to your room.
And you can also see the list of the breakout rooms on the screen. I'm going to hesitate and not go back to the slide deck right now because I think everyone can see them. Right. Super. So we see
And
people.
if you need help getting into a breakout room, you can put it in chat and I can move you there also if that's easier for you.
So people are making their way. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. So if you're having any problem self-selecting, if you go to the 3 dots, which is probably over to the right, and you open those up, you will see the choice breakout rooms, and that will allow you to self-select the room that you prefer. Great. So I had an opportunity to go into all of the breakout rooms because I was in breakout room number 1 with new participants and there was no one in my room. So, which was exciting, as Emily pointed out, because it means that each of you are able to connect and you have some level of expertise in navigating and leveraging LUDIA, and you were able to connect with each other about these specific examples. So before we move on to close out our hour together today, I just wanted to give everyone an opportunity, since we are a group under 20, to either share any questions or wonderings in the chat, or raise your hand if you'd like to share anything with the group as a whole. Okay. All right, so we'll just give a minute for people to think and just in case you wanted to share anything.
I had a question. I typed in visuals, for example, like fingers counting from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And it gave me examples of resources I can use, but it seemed like it couldn't quite make the visuals. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. In very kind but straightforward terms, LUDIA is a one-trick pony, so it will it is not engineered to create images. And we are in the process of re-engineering and moving LUDIA to another platform. And this is a really big question because we understand that the amount of tries that it takes to create an image takes up a lot of energy. And we know that in 2025, we're just not at a point where artificial intelligence is usually able to render us a high quality image in comparison to what we could find for the same amount of time and a lot less resources and energy on the web or through open access resources such as Unsplash, etc. So that's where we're at. So the answer is you're right, Jenny. It didn't create that and it probably never will.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure I was
Yeah,
doing it right.
you
Still,
were.
still learning.
Oh, we all are. Thank you for your question. All right, we have time for just one more. If anyone has any questions or wonderings. Okay. Well, I hope that you all had a positive experience and a big thank you to all of my colleagues who did such a wonderful job facilitating each of those breakout rooms. So you were really among so many passionate leaders in the world of education. So it's an exciting webinar for sure. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on now to our intentional close.
Yeah, thank you, Beth, so much for demoing and leading us through LUDIA today. We want you to just take a moment to share either in chat or you can unmute, but share one helpful prompt or strategy or tip that you've discovered for using LUDIA. So we'll give you a second to enter something in the chat or you can unmute. So it could be something that you're planning to try, a way that you've seen to reduce barriers, or an idea that could help support you and your colleagues. So, oh, I see a link to a live binder, a resource for you to take a look at. LUDIA is really helping to fully address those barriers and look at the barriers in the learning. Using LUDIA to really look at where a student is developmentally and the areas where they might need support on that for the DRDP. Oh, and Beth, if you click on the home page for the live binder over on the left.
Okay, super. A big thank you to Stella, who shared this hot link live binder with the group. So I want to also make sure to point everyone in that direction to definitely bookmark that. So thank you again, Stella. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for just a moment. And then
All
I'm
right,
going
well,
to...
thank you, everyone. Lots of ways that you are going to continue to grow your LUDIA learning. And the last piece, I'll pass it back to Lori.
Yeah, so I'm going to drop a link in the chat if you would take a moment to please give us some feedback for today. We really appreciate your time in providing some input for our team. And as we wrap up today, I'd like to leave you with a call to action. So between now and our final session on October 2nd, we encourage you to begin using LUDIA in your own practice, whether it's exploring it with a student, testing out a feature or integrating it into a lesson, we'd like for you to implement it into your practice and then come back next session with any barriers or next steps with using LUDIA. And we also had a great discussion in our breakout session. So Beth, this may guide some of our work in our third session around maybe a fictitious DRDP report, specifically uploading that and what that might look like in maybe looking at one area where a student is behind and next steps and how we might address that using LUDIA. So just a specific example that came up in our breakout room today. And then we'll just do our little shameless plug for social media. On the slide deck, there is the Desired Results Access Project. They are on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Pinterest. And then Open Access is on Facebook, X, and Instagram. So please feel free to follow both of our projects as we interact often on social media, sharing and liking and posting all things for educators throughout the state. So we just want to say thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to October 2nd, our final session. So again, thank you to Beth and Sean and Fred for being on the call today.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm really excited about our third session, and we look forward to seeing all of you then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.